Hello everyone, welcome to the fifth video lecture on materials science and metallurgy video lecture series. In this video lecture, we are going to learn about metallic bond by taking a simple example, and at the end of the video, we are going to learn about two important properties, malleability and ductility, and other properties of pure metals. Come, let us start our today's lecture. In order to explain metallic bond, I am taking an example like this. You please see here what all these people are doing. Yes, all these people are ready for a dog's show. I'll tell you a small story that 7 persons came to dog show. So let us take that this is person 1, this is person 2, this is other person 3. Let us give numbering 4, 5, 6 and 7. Before the show was started, they come around and fortunately they are school friends. Since they met after long time, these persons, that means this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, they left their dogs and they are talking to each other. Now, since these dogs are not familiar to one another, generally what happens if any dog sees a new dog, they will bark at each other and they are quarreling each other. While they are quarreling with each other, their belts were twisted like this. That means their belts were twisted and folded like this, and they are tied up one another. So after some time, let us consider that after 15 minutes, announcement came like this: come for show with your dog. Now come to this person. Suppose if he wants to take his dog, what will happen if he pulls this thread? Automatically all dogs present in the group will come to his side. So now he is not able to take his dog only. And again, if you come to this person, if she wants to take her dog, then she cannot also take her dog only. Why? Because all the belts were twisted. So all the dogs were tied together. As a result, no person is able to go to this dog's show. Why? Because they are not able to take their own dog. That means, though there is no bond between persons, there is no bond between this first and the second person, and there is no bond between this third and fourth person, there is no bond between 5 and 6, there is no bond between 6 and 7, and there is no bond between any of these persons, but they are bind together at a certain place in certain fixed positions, and they are not able to move. That means these persons are not able to move outside. Why? Because if they want to move outside, they have to take their own dog. But it is not possible for them to take their own dog because they were all tied together with all these belts. Okay, this is the situation which happens in metals. Now let us come to the example again. Let us imagine that this is a sodium metal and this is a sodium metal and this is also sodium metal, and again all were sodium metals. Let us imagine like that all these were sodium metals. Each sodium metal is having an electron. Let this dog be the electron. So this electron belongs to this sodium atom, and again this electron belongs to this sodium atom. Like all electrons belong to all sodium atoms. Whenever all sodium atoms come together at one place, like this, then the electron from the sodium atom, this is the electron of this sodium atom, came out, and similarly the electron from another sodium atom came out. Similarly, all sodium atoms lost their electrons, like this, and like this. And all these electrons crowded and formed an electron cloud. This is the electron cloud. So what happens here? This electron cloud is going to attract all sodium ions. Now these are not sodium atoms, these are sodium ions. Why? Because they lost their electron to the valence band. So again plus, all sodium atoms are having positive charge. So as a result, what happened here, all these positive charges get attracted towards this electron cloud, and similarly this electron cloud is attracting all these positive charges. Finally you will get a metallic bond. Did you understand? So this is the concept of metallic bond. Now let us read our notes. Metallic bond. Many metals have metallic bond. Why I am saying many metals? There are some metals like silicon, germanium. These metals don't have metallic bond. They are having covalent bond. Whenever there is a possibility for the formation of a covalent bond, metals do prefer the formation of covalent bond only. So whenever there is no possibility for the formation of covalent bond, then metal atoms will come to metallic bond. So the second point, metallic bond in pure metals can be simply explained by sea of electrons theory, which we have discussed now only. This theory was introduced by Paul Rudd in early 90s. We also discussed this point. Metallic bonds occur among metal atoms. Yes, metallic bonds will occur among metal atoms only. That's why we are calling it as metallic bond. In a metal, outer electrons shared among all atoms. Yes, we just saw that all atoms present in the metal are participating in the bond formation. So here sharing will happen among all atoms. Each atom gives its outer electrons and becomes slightly positively charged. We discussed this point also by taking the example of sodium. The negatively charged electrons hold metal atoms together. Yes, electrons will hold the metal atoms together by forming electron cloud. Since the electrons are free to move, they lead to good thermal and electrical conductivity. Since these metals are having free electrons, they can conduct electricity. Let me explain this point by taking a simple example. What is happening here? Here, this person is watering his garden. Let us imagine that there is a motor. Let this be the motor which is connected to a bore pipe which was digged in the ground, and this motor is taking water from this bore well and again transferring the water, and this is the pipe, and transferring the water to the pipe. Let this be the water which is flowing from this pipe which was buried in ground. This is the bore pipe, the water. So now this water is coming from this bore well and going into this pipe, and finally it is coming outside like this. Now let us imagine that the total pipe is a metal. Let us imagine that this is a metal. Actually, it is plastic material, no doubt at all. But let us imagine that this is metal, and all water molecules which are flowing in this pipe are electrons. Now I will ask you a simple doubt. Whenever this water comes from this ground to this pipe, automatically what happens, since already water is present in this pipe, that water comes out immediately. So whenever you supply water from this bore well, it is always transferring that water from this pipe to this garden. Suppose if you switch off this motor, what will happen? Automatically this flow will be stopped. Whenever this flow is stopped, some amount of water will remain in this pipe. Is that clear? So, in similar manner, in metals also they contain free electrons. What I mean to say here is, suppose if you take the case of magnesium, this is Mg plus 2, this is Mg plus 2, and Mg plus 2, 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 and Mg plus 2. What did we learn? It contains an electron cloud. That means it is having an electron cloud. In this electron cloud, electrons are present like this. Okay, don't count number of electrons. I am drawing a rough diagram. Okay, now whenever you supply electricity from outside, suppose if you supply electricity like this, it will give flow of electrons into this material. So whenever this magnesium metal gains this flow of electrons from outside with some potential, automatically it will give away its electrons which are already present in the electron cloud to the other side. Okay, so what happens? Flow of electricity through metals is very easy. Why? Because metal already contains some free electrons. These free electrons are always want to run from here and there. Whenever they will get free electrons from outside with some potential, automatically the electrons present in the electron cloud will come out. That's why metals are good conductors of electricity. Okay, what happens if you stop the flow of electricity? Immediately some electrons will be in the electron cloud, and immediately it will also stop the flow of electrons to outside. Again, if you see, it will contain an electron cloud, and it will contain same number of electrons. But all these electrons came from outside. So, at any time before passing electricity and after passing electricity, this material is neutral. That means before passing and after passing, whatever may be the condition, if you stop the supply of electricity, automatically the metal will retain its total number of electrons, and the total material will behave as a neutral material as that of before passing the electricity. Is that clear? Again, suppose if you come to thermal conductivity. What is thermal conductivity? Thermal conductivity in solids is nothing but conduction. We already discussed in previous video lecture. In this conduction, what it needs? It needs vibrations for the passage of heat. It needs vibrations. These electrons are always moving here and there, just like vibrations. So, again, we can say that metals are good conductors of heat also. Why? Because electrons present in the electron cloud are always in vibrations. Is that clear? As a result, metals will be good conductors of heat. Not only the electrons, the magnesium atoms present in the fixed position also always in vibrations, because this electron cloud attracts all these magnesium atoms towards itself. And again, whenever all magnesium atoms come together, they will repel each other. Why? Because they are having a positive charge. Again, they are trying to move outside of this electron cloud. Again, this electron cloud is attracting them. So, as a whole, the material, it is having more number of vibrations. Metal ions are vibrating, and electrons present in the electron cloud also making some type of movements always. So, metals will behave as good conductors of heat. That means metals are having good thermal conductivity. Is that clear? And again, we can say one thing. Since these are electrons, and these are moving always here and there, whenever light falls on them, whenever light falls on them, they will reflect that light generally. So, this electron cloud is able to reflect the light which falls on it. So, you will find that the metals are shining. Why shining? Because these electrons present in the electron cloud are always ready to reflect the light which falls on them. So, automatically you will observe a shining nature for metals, which you call it as a lustrous nature also. Is that clear? Here, the seventh point is, since electrons are free to move, they lead to good thermal and electrical conductivity. The valence electrons form negatively charged electron cloud. Okay, we discussed this point. Let us now come to the properties or characteristics of metallic bond. What is this first point? This first point is indicating that metallic bonds are non-directional. Non-directional means what? If you come to this place, see the structure of this metallic bond. Here there is an electron cloud. It is just attracting the metal cations. So, attraction may be in any direction. That's why we wrote like this: metallic bonds are non-directional. Here there is no concept of involvement of p orbitals and d orbitals and directional character. It is just an electrostatic force of attraction between the electron cloud and that of metal ions. Okay, now let us come to the next point. What is it? Metals possess electrical and thermal conductivities. We already discussed this point because of free electrons and because of some vibrational forces. And again, the third point is metals are opaque to light. What is meant by opaque to light? That means they are not transparent. Suppose if I have taken any metal surface like this, yes, this metal surface is having an electron cloud which will attract metal cations present in this metal. Now I am not showing the metal cations, I am showing only the electron cloud. This is the electron cloud associated with this metal. So, whenever light energy falls on this metal surface, what these electrons will do, since these electrons are moving here and there, since all these are electrons, they will absorb that radiation. That means they will absorb that photon energy. So, some part of it may be reflected from it. So as a result, whatever may be the light fall on this metal surface, the total light is absorbed by this surface and cannot transfer from this surface to outside. So as a result, we can say that this is opaque. Opaque means what? Opaque means not transparent, just like a glass. It is not transparent, it is opaque. Why? Because it is absorbing the total light energy or the photon energy which fall on it. Is that clear? Because of these reflections only, metals appear lustrous. We already discussed this point. So let us come to our notes again. So suppose if you come to this place, the fourth point is metals have high melting and boiling points. Why? Because metallic bond is a strong bond and it belongs to group of metal cations. So they are having high melting points and they have ductility. So generally metals are having two important properties. One is malleability and ductility. Malleability means if you hammer that metal, automatically it will change its shape. That means you can give a plastic deformation for metals. That is called malleability. Ductility means if you stretch any metal, you can make wires. So this type of stretching of wires from metal is called ductility. Okay, I will show you two videos, then you are able to understand what is meant by malleability and ductility. Let us come to the video. You please watch this video. What they are doing? They heated this metal and they are giving hard hits to that metal. Whenever they give a hard hit, it is changing its shape. This type of change is called plastic deformation. So because of this malleability property, we are making many number of metals into the desired shape. Malleability is nothing but deformation of metals. So by giving hard hits or by giving a strong force, we can shape metals into the desired shape. Suppose if you come to ductility, please see this video what they are doing. They are stretching those wires by giving small heat and they are making very small wires. This type of formation is called ductility. Whenever you come to this ductility is nothing but giving a stretch to metals and forming wires. Not only wires, we can give different shape which is very thin shape. Okay, that's why I wrote like this. They have ductility. Is that clear? Then again come to this sixth point. They have low ionization energy and low electronegativity. Low ionization energy means electrons come out from the metal outer orbit to the valence band easily. That's why metals are said to have low ionization energy. And the seventh point is they have lustrous, that means a shiny appearance. We discussed this point also. Metals have a crystal structure but can be easily deformed. Easily deformed means we just wrote like this. By giving hard hits to a metal, you can deform the metal. That means metals are having crystal structure. No doubt at all their metal ions are present in ordered manner. Though they are present in ordered manner, by giving hard hits with the hammer, you can easily deform the metal. That property is only this malleability. Is that clear? Then on melting, bond is loosened, not broken. In the video, if you see, they heated the metal. Because of that heat, it did not break. Okay, just it loosened their bonds and and allow that person to make changes. That means nothing deformation. That means on melting, the bond is just loosened and it is changing its shape continuously by giving those hits. Is that clear? Yes, let us now come to the last point, that is 10th point. The strength of a metallic bond depends on three things. Let us see what are those things. The strength of a metallic bond depends on the number of electrons which came out from that metal cation, okay, and becomes delocalized throughout the metal. We saw this one in the previous video lecture with the comparison of sodium metal strength and magnesium metal strength. The melting point of magnesium is nearly 657 degrees centigrade, but the melting point of sodium is 97 degrees centigrade. Did you remember that one? We discussed this one. So why? Because it released more number of electrons and more number of electrons are delocalized in magnesium metal. So automatically its bond strength is more, that's why its melting point is also more. In some textbooks it was written like that it is having a melting point of 650 degrees centigrade. So I am just giving a rough melting point. The melting point of this magnesium varies with the impurity level which it contains. So let us remember that it is having 657 degrees centigrade melting point. Then come to this one. The strength of a metallic bond depends on charge of the cation. Here magnesium will get +2 charge, whereas this sodium will get plus charge only. That means +1 charge only. So if the charge of the metal cation is more, then automatically the bond strength is also more. And finally, the strength of a metallic bond depends on the size of the cation. We discussed this point also in the previous video lecture. If you see, the size of magnesium is smaller when compared to sodium. Since it is having small size, its density is more. As a result, it is having more strong metallic bond, because if it is having more density, more number of atoms will occupy in small volume, automatically it will have a great strength. In such a manner we can discuss properties or characteristics of a metallic bond. Is that clear? Now we discussed only about pure metals. In the coming video lecture we are going to discuss about metal alloys. Thanks for watching till the end. Thank you very much. Read the notes well. The notes was given in the description. Please download the notes from that Google Drive link and read it well. Thank you. Thank you very much.